Hello, everyone. The Labour Party has done a statement, have released a statement on the fact that the Supreme Court did not actually give a judgment on the cases on the appeal by the Labour Party. So I'll just read out the statement here for us. It says, release by Labour Party. 1. The Supreme Court issued a hearing notice dated 25th October 2023, notifying the Labour Party and its candidate in the presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi, that judgment will be delivered in their appeal to the Supreme Court in appeal number XC/CV/937/2023 on Thursday, 26th October 2023. 2. On the 26th of October 2023, LP and her lawyers were in the court. The Supreme Court proceeded to read the judgment in appeal number SC/CV/935/2023 filed by the People's Democratic Party, PDP. After that, the presiding justice, His Lordship John Inyang Okoro, JSC, verbally stated that the decision in the LP appeal would abide by the judgment just delivered in respect of the PDP appeal. 3. The LP finds the position taken by the Supreme Court regarding the judgment in our appeal extraordinary, terribly shocking, most unprecedented and unacceptable for the following reasons. A. The appeals filed by both PDP and LP from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court were two distinct appeals which emanated from two separate judgments of the Court of Appeal. 2. The two appeals were not even consolidated at the Supreme Court but were heard separately. C. At the separate hearing of both appeals, the question was never raised, the parties never agreed, and the court neither gave a directive nor ordered that the judgment in one appeal would abide by the decision in the other. D. The petitions from where the two appeals arose were held separately at the Court of Appeal based on separate pleadings and different sets of witnesses. Thus, the facts of the two petitions were remarkably different. E. The only decisions where the parties agreed in the two appeals were 25% votes in Abuja. The other issues submitted to the Supreme Court for determination in the two appeals differed remarkably. By way of illustrations, we draw attention to some of the issues. 1. Forfeiture of funds being proceeds of narcotics trafficking contained in the LP petition and not in the reply. 2. Double nomination of the third respondent who was not even a party in the PDP petition. 3. Failure to comply with the mandatory requirement of Section 73, subsection 2 of the Electoral Act 2022, the consequences of which the provision stipulates renders the election invalid. 4. The effects of the certified true copies of 18,123 blood and unreadable polling unit result sheets from EC8As downloaded from the IRF issued by the INEC to the LP and its candidates, which they tendered in court. Some were blank A4 papers, pictures and images of unknown persons. They were purported to be copies of polling unit results. Even with the materiality of the issues, the Court of Appeal evaded making a finding on it. F. They were all part of the LP appeal, but not that of the PDP appeal. 6. FG. The LP had, out of an abundance of caution, by letter dated 26 October 2023, applied to the Chief Registrar of the Supreme Court for the certified true copy of the judgment in the LP case, in the LP appeal. There was a reminder through a letter on 8 November 2023. However, to date, the requests have been ignored. H. The LP is also aware that by the provision of Section 294, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, Every court established under the Constitution, which necessarily includes the Supreme Court, has a duty to furnish all parties to the cause or matter determined with duly authenticated copies of the decision within 7 days of the delivery thereof. I. The Supreme Court has failed to do this in the present appeal. 4. In conclusion, the LP finds it very embarrassing and depressing that the Supreme Court would, after hearing the appeal by our party, refuse to deliver any judgment and also fail to avail our party of any copy of whatever it considers to be its decision. 5. With every sense of responsibility, the LP believes that the Supreme Court's conduct is regrettable and unprecedented. That's the Nigeria that we are dealing with today. That's the Nigerian that is fighting us today. I mean, the corruption in the judiciary is unprecedented, and the judiciary is shameless about it. And they are not ready to even do things in a manner where you will not be able to say, oh, there's not, oh, maybe. No, they are not, because that shame, it's off for them. They look at the fact that they've written letter, they've been asking for the certified true copy of this judgment, that it's their judgment, nothing. And as it is, the judgment, nothing, their whole judgment, nothing was done about the LP case. It was the PDP case that was done, and it was like, oh, okay, over and done with, move on. Okay, give us the certified true copy, because at the end of the day, you might say, maybe there's something that was written that, but they didn't want to keep here saying, how do I put it? They didn't want to keep repeating themselves in the court and all of that, so they decided to now not to say it and say, okay, the decision we've made, the overall decision we've made with the PDP case is also the decision made on your own case. So in that case, then move on to your own and go and read your own. But they haven't given the certified true copy. All of these things are really, they are really worrisome, and they just points to the fact that we have a compromised judiciary. We have a judicial capture, a judiciary that is not in control and in charge of its own self. And all of these things are really things that point to how rotten the situation is in Nigeria. And I must say this to every one of us. I see a lot of people who are like, oh, okay, as it is now, this thing is helpless, let's move on. The thing is that moving on is not going to solve the problem. Moving on is going to worsen the problem. If you say you're not going to do anything, these people will now have time to really put everybody down. Don't forget the fact that APC is out here to pauperize people. Tinubu is ready to pauperize everybody, because the more a whole lot of people have been thrown into poverty, the more he feels nobody is going to be able to challenge him, and he can do all sorts of things, walk over everybody's head. Of course, he has illegitimately found his way there. Before you know that, he turns himself to an emperor. After he's done, he hands over to his children or his family or whatever he deems fit on that. So any kind of terrible thing that you can think about can really happen, and it's going to get worse. And no matter how much, nobody can take suffering forever. Whatever you see now will be child's play to what they will do if citizens really don't sit down and fight all of this menace.